I want to talk about expenses. New York City is one of the most expensive cities to live in. I'm still very embarrassed of how much I spend in a week. I always end up buying unnecessary things. It's so expensive. But I chose this life. Hello, it's Zoe and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Zoe. I am a born and raised Filipina living in New York City, and I make content about my life in New York, adventures, adulting, and all those fun stuff. So if you're interested about those type of videos, make sure to click the subscribe button to be updated with my latest uploads. And also don't forget to comment if you have any future video recommendations and a like if you would love this video. Alright, jumping right into the topic of this video and why you clicked this video in the first place, I want to talk about expenses, budgeting, finance, or whatever, whatever you call it here in New York City. As you all know, New York City is one of the most expensive cities to live in the world. I think there's like an article or like a post saying that New York City is like the number 6 most expensive city to live in the world, and I can attest to that. It is 100% true. When I first moved here from the Philippines, I was shocked of how expensive everything is. If you're an immigrant, if you moved in from a different country, do you also find yourself like converting everything when you first move in? Like when you're in a grocery, like water is like $2, or like sometimes it's $1 in some cities, but like in New York most of it is like $2. I'm like, why would you pay 100 peso for water? You know, like I can't help but compare when I first moved in. So that's just a background of what I felt when I moved to New York. It's very, very expensive. Rents are expensive, food are expensive. You can't find a meal less than $15 here. Like you can from fast food restaurants, but it adds up. Like if you want other things and then tax and then tip, it's crazy. Like tipping in the Philippines is not a big thing as well. So when I moved here, I kind of have to, make it a habit to tip servers, to tip, like cashiers and stuff. And it just adds up. The more that I, the longer that I live here, the more I realize that it makes sense, but at the same time, like, why is it so expensive? But I chose this life, I chose to live in New York City. I chose to live in a very expensive city, in a very expensive area. So I'm doing this to myself. But then, like, one of the most sensitive topics that I actually don't want to talk about that much are expenses, because I feel like I'm not yet in that point in my life that I'm like saving a ton of money for bigger stuff in the future. Like I'm saving money, but I feel like I'm not saving too much, to the point that by next year I can buy a house or something. I'm still enjoying my life. Like one of the principles that I have is, you're still young. I'm still young. I want to do things in my youth that when I am older, I cannot enjoy it anymore. So I do things, like I experience things, like watch a show, or like go on and travel, buy a specific technology like my camera and stuff like that, that I know that I'm going to enjoy now while I am still young, rather than when I'm older, when I don't have enough time, or I may have time but I don't have the energy to enjoy it. So that's kind of like my principle in life. That's how I justify my expenses. I know it's not healthy if you're like big in expenses with money. Feel free to skip this video because it's not gonna be justifiable. But if you're just interested in how normally New Yorkers spend, I would say this is kind of like normal in some way. Well, stay and know the rest of my expenses for the week. Just a quick kind of like disclaimer or heads up on this video. I don't really spend this much on a weekly basis. I do have a week where I spend like this, but this week specifically, And like I feel like this month specifically, I try to spoil myself more because it's Christmas time, it's the holidays. This is the time where I am a little bit kinder to myself in terms of, you know, spending money, because it's Christmas time. It's like an excuse to actually spend money for other people or spend money for yourself. It's rewarding. It's the end of the year, kind of like a pat in the back for working hard, for doing the best that you can during the past few years. I mean, during the past year. So that's kind of like a context, just a disclaimer. I hope you guys are gonna be kind in the comments about my expenses. But that's just how I justify things. Alrighty, let's move on to each specific day and let's run down all the expenses. Okay, starting off with Sunday. I was actually planning to stay home on Sunday and just have like a productive Sunday doing chores, watching a show or watching a movie or something. But then my friend is a culprit. My friend is a culprit for this one. Janine, if you're watching, it was your fault, but it's fine. I love hanging out with you. But my friend called me and she was like, I'm in the city right now and I have a good outfit, so I don't want to waste it. Do you want to go to this pop-up store with me? And it's like the last day would be today, so do you want to check it out before we missed it? And so I did, being the good friend that I am, being the kaladkarin friend. Kaladkarin is like the friend that will always go with you anywhere, anytime, anywhere, and everywhere. That's me and that type of friend. So if you need a friend like that, you know, hit me up. But she called me and then I said yes, and then of course I went to Canal Street where it was. So I took the subway. One trip to the subway is like $2.75. So if you're a Filipino watching this, you know how like in the Philippines the rates are different per drop off that you're going to. That's why the lines are always long, because you always have to like buy a ticket, always have to buy a ticket or refill your card if you're going to a specific location. Like it's not always the same because you tap in and you tap out. But here it's just like one swipe and you can go anywhere. Like even if it's like, you know, in a different borough, it's just $2.75 one swipe, and then you go back $2.75. So I went, so it's $2.75 going. And then we were at the pop-up store and there were so many jewelries. I have a weakness in jewelries. I love earrings. That is my guilty pleasure. I love collecting earrings. Whenever I travel, instead of, you know, buying keychains or magnets, I always get earrings because, you know, it's unique and you can always tell a story with your earrings, especially if it looks very unique. And there were a lot of those in that place, so I got 2 earrings. Both are $35. One is like a classic gold hoop because I don't have that much classic pieces. Because I always like, you know, dive into like the unique earrings. And then I got another one which is like a pink diamond shaped earrings that are made out of Japanese paper. They rolled out the Japanese paper and they make it into like a pretty gold, like diamond earrings, which I will kind of like sneak into this clip right now so you guys have context. So those are the 2 earrings that I got and I'm very happy with that. So those are the 3 expenses that I got from that place. So $35, we now have $70, so it's now $72.75. But wait, there's more. Since we went to another location, another Christmas market, which is in Union Square, we had to take the subway all the way up to Union Square, so it was another $2.75. And when we got there, I told myself not to buy earrings and just like, you know, look around and eat maybe because it's like around dinner time. But both Janine and I were not hungry, so we just grabbed a hot cocoa because it's a little bit cold that time. And you know, hot cocoa is a good, you know, way to warm yourself if it's cold out and stuff. So we bought hot cocoa, which is $7. So that's what I did, and after that I went to Trader Joe's to pick up some stuff for my groceries because I ran out of eggs. And of course, like, who doesn't go to grocery store and, you know, pick up some random things? I go with the list, but I always end up buying unnecessary things, which I still haven't eaten right now. I bought like eggs, which I always cook. And then I got like the pumpkin butter, which I've heard on TikTok is a very good product. It's very like delicious, but I haven't tried it because I want to buy a Japanese milk bread to spread it around with on it. And then I bought bananas, and that's about it. And my bill was like $17. And then from then on, I told myself stop spending, and it's time to go home. And so I did. I went home, and you know, another swipe of a subway ticket, $2.75, which brings my Monday into $102.25. Whew. Moving on to Monday. So I stayed home. I worked from home that day, and I wasn't planning on spending anything because I still have food, and I made my own coffee. But at the end of the day, I was working until 7, and I was feeling I was feeling a little bit down. So I bought a pint of ice cream from Van Leeuwen, which is $10, and I ate it and finished it at the same day. Okay, moving on to Tuesday. So for Tuesday, I went to the office, and as I've said, there's a blue bottle downstairs by the office, and you know, I just can't help myself if I see a coffee shop. And I already told you guys what Blue Bottle meant for me. There's like special place for Blue Bottle in my heart, and I went in and I just ordered, I think my order was, that day I ordered sweet latte with extra shot, and I didn't get any pastry because the office serves like a bunch of pastries. So when you get in, there's like croissants, cookies, and stuff, like granola, if you like granola, yogurt. So I just bought coffee. And then, you know, like going to the office, I spent $2.75 for Subway and then $2.75 going back home, and that's about it. Okay, friends, now we have Wednesday. So I wasn't expecting to spend a lot of money on this day, but you know what? It happens. So this was the day that I almost got stuck in the building, in the office building, because the elevators were not working. So instead of going down to the lower floor where they serve lunch, I don't know how to go down because the elevators were not working. I didn't know where the service elevator is, so I didn't eat, and I'm also not that hungry because I had coffee from Blue Bottle that day with a pastry. I think I had a Belgian waffle from Blue Bottle and a New Orleans style iced coffee, so I'm a little bit full, so I don't mind. But then after work, I went to China Jade, which is my favorite Chinese restaurant here near my neighborhood, and I bought my favorite dish, which is the stir-fried chicken with green chilies, which is $17. But you know, with the tax and tips and all, it ran down into $21 in total. And then adding up the subway trips that I've had, so going to the office and going back, we have a total of $36.5. Okay, friends, 2 more days left. Let's start off with Thursday, of course. Thursday comes before Friday. I also went to the office this day. I told you, if I go to the office, I spend a lot, but if not, I try not to spend that much. But I went to the office, of course, the usual, Subway, and then Blue Bottle. Of course, I got pastry from Blue Bottle. I got a cookie, a caramel. If you guys want to know, it's a chocolate caramel chunk cookie. And of course, adding up the subway that I went there, so $275. And then what else? I had dinner with a friend from work. Claudia, if you're watching this, shout out. We had sushi from Blue Ribbon, which is close by the building, so we didn't subway all the way there. And the bill was around 30, yeah, it was around $31 with tax and tips. So wait, this more. I thought that was the end of my expenses, but I also got, like, going back home, I got an ice cream from Anita Gelato because, you know, I'm just feeling it. I want my Anita Gelato, and that's my favorite ice cream place in the city, which happens to be close to my place, so I don't have any other excuse to go there. So I spent $8 for a small cup with 2 flavors. I got mascarpone and what's the other flavor that I got? Caramel cheesecake, which is basically Biscoff with cheesecake stuff on it. Whew, that day was a total of $58.05. That's about my expenses because on yesterday, I didn't spend anything. I stayed home, worked from home, and didn't spend any cent. I'm so proud of myself. I almost did. I checked Uber Eats and I'm like, do I really want to buy this right now, or should I make food at home? And I chose to make food at home, and I didn't spend anything, so it was a benefit. I hope you guys like seeing how much I spend in a week, although I'm still very embarrassed of how much I spend in a week. This is a lot of money, but as I've said earlier in the video, I don't spend this much every single week. It just so happens that it's Christmas season, and you know, I am going out as much, and you know, I don't want to restrict myself too much on spending money. If I want something, I still save up. I save up half of my payroll every single, like every 2 weeks, and then I put aside my rent, and I, like, whatever is left, I spend it on things that I want. If I'm traveling, I save it for travel expenses and stuff. So it's all about balance. I know that I'm saving up, and I also know that I'm getting things that I want without restricting myself too much. So that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't make this a reason to not move to New York, hopefully. But if money is something that you guys are very, you know, it's precious for you to save up, just take this into consideration that it is very expensive here. No matter how much you budget, it really is expensive, and it's hard to, you know, try to cut things out. It just affects your happiness overall. Well, in my case. I talk too much. I need to stop talking. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys love this video. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and leave a comment if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for future videos, and don't forget to subscribe to know more about me, to know if I spend more money. But thank you so much, and hope you guys had a great rest of your day or night wherever you are in the world, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye!